Joining us now is Mark Paoletta, Senior Fellow as the Center for Renewing America. Mark, you're a great American, and everybody's talking about Mark Paoletta. They say, Mark Paoletta's got to run this and that and all that. So it's a great honor to you, sir. Mark, how are you doing? And I'm sure you're thrilled about the recent victory.
Absolutely thrilled, Charlie. And thank you for everything you did to help reelect President Trump. Going out to the colleges day in and day out, just phenomenal. So thank you in terms of the people who made this happen. You're in a very small circle.
Well, thank you. And so we are blessed and honored to be able to play a small role. So I want to just ask, what is the direction that you are feeling of this transition? I don't know how involved you are, but at least from what I've seen in my last couple of days at Mar-a-Lago, I feel as if there is an urgency to fulfill the mandate. Your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, Charlie, there's always silver linings, right? 2020 was just outrageous, right? But you had a whole infrastructure, right? The Trump movement that was born, like sort of continued with all of these organizations being set up to push the Trump agenda. And you had 4 years where they developed, right, these ideas. And as you said, Charlie, President Trump was out there making promises, and they're all collected up, right? That is the first thing everyone sees, whoever's working on the transition team in whatever category is. This is what President Trump said. This is what we're delivering on. It's front and center. And so you have had, I don't think there's been anything like it. That's why I'm so excited, too, in history, where you had a president who was you had it back with Grover Cleveland, obviously, but coming back and having this whole infrastructure to really flesh out, right, his ideas and have people who are involved writing, draft executive orders, writing all these, memos and papers to support what he wants to do. And then when we're coming in and the American people vote, right? This was an overwhelming, as you said, close in some of the states. I think you did put them over the top in Pennsylvania and other places, right? Because of your work and those small margins. But it was an overwhelming victory in the popular vote. The American people want this agenda. As you said at the top of the show, it's a complete rejection of the left, the Democrats' woke garbage that has destroyed this country, right? And so everything that the president campaigned on, he has a mandate to implement. And so, as you just said, Tom Homan being selected right after Susie Wiles, both tremendous selections, but the president showing this is the most important thing for me, and we're going to get it done with a guy with a backbone of steel, right? That one is the right thing to do, and two, the American people, I think it's a 70% approval, right, of deporting illegal aliens in this country. And so, there's the mandate and there's the experience of people who have been there working with President Trump, the first administration, some battle scars, lessons learned, picking the right people. So I think this could be one of the greatest administrations ever, from the experience, commitment, focus, and all that. I mean, and the people coming in, I'm very excited for the next 4 years.
No, I am too. So, Mark, let's educate the audience. There are so many positions to fill. Let's just take one department that I care about. I know you do, the Department of Justice, which I think is going to be one of the most important agencies to fill and to staff. Can you educate the audience and walk them through? It's not just a matter of picking an attorney general or a deputy attorney general. If you look at the flow chart, and they're all publicly available online, it's a monstrosity, Mark. And if you get one of these wrong, you have a sleeper cell that could undermine your entire agenda. Mark, your thoughts.
I think the Department of Justice will be the tip of the spear in terms of implementing President Trump's agenda. The border, right? Working on processing all these, illegal aliens, asylum claims, and just getting them out of the country. That's all the Department of Justice that will be working with DHS. Helping to build the wall and all the legal proceedings and the eminent domain proceedings that were shut down under President Biden, right? So one of the things that will happen, Charlie, is that President Biden on day one and the first 100 days of his administration issued all these executive orders rescinding everything that President Trump was doing. That all changes on day one, right? President Trump has made it very clear. Those are the kinds of things that the Department of Justice will be working on. all the DEI, the woke, the transgender, the boys playing in girls' schools, all of those issues which involve the Department of Education or other agencies, the legal memos and the sort of the work that's going to support doing all those things comes out of the Department of Justice. So what you need, and what the president deserves, right, is a fully committed Department of Justice and their career employees. And you're reading these articles about how some employees are going to try and resist President Trump. And they would be subverting democracy, in my view, right? The American people voted on this. The president won on a very clear agenda. And that's the other thing. All of these things were laid out during the campaign like nothing else for the past 4 years and in the past year of the campaign. And that's what he has a right to see implemented. DOJ across it's getting DEI out of the federal government, suing companies or universities that do DEI, investigating all the anti-Semitism that's going, and prosecuting people for those horrific acts against people. Looking at drug companies, right, and all the transgender surgeries, and keeping it from parents, going after parents, looking at the January 6th defendants, right, and issuing pardons and commutations for everyone who was, persecuted, prosecuted by politically inspired lawfare, right? That's not just on the January 6th defendants, that's other people, abortion protesters, right, who get thrown in jail for many years simply for just protesting. So that's the agenda. Those are the kinds of things that are going to happen at the Department of Justice. So that's why it is the tip of the spear.
Yeah, and so so how many of those positions in DOJ, for example, are able to be Senate confirmed versus non-Senate confirmed? Sure. And that's a very important. I hope everyone understands this is why the Senate leadership fight is so important. This is why we've been tweeting like madmen this last weekend. Because understand that Charlie, even if you have good. Yeah, please, Mark, please.
Oh, sorry. I think at the top, there's the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General. Then there's an Assistant Attorney General on just about every single section, okay, like the environment, civil rights, the criminal division, the civil division, the Solicitor General. All of those are confirmed appointments. They're the leaders of the departments. Yes, you're exactly right. We need to get these people confirmed immediately. President Trump talked about having the Senate making recess appointments, which is when the Senate goes into recess for a period of time. I think it's 4 or 5 days. That's the minimum. But he can then Constitution provides if the Senate's out on recess, the president can make recess appointments that would last until the end of the next session, which would be basically 2 years of somebody serving in a recess capacity. But all those positions are extremely important. We need the right people. We need people who have backbones, okay? Experience, but really backbones. And you may know from my background, right? I was involved with the confirmation of the greatest Supreme Court justice in history, right? And that's Justice Clarence Thomas. And, he's brilliant. He's an originalist, but most important, he has a backbone. He is never bent. That's what we need from the appointees of President Trump. And there were too many people in the first administration, right, who didn't have backbones, who thought they knew better than the president, who kept information from him, who tried to subvert him, right, political appointees. So there is this deep state of career employees, to be sure, okay? I dealt with them. We all dealt with them in the first term. But it's as important to get political appointees who are fully committed, as you said, to fulfilling the agenda. And that's the lesson learned, I think, from the first administration. So, and I think, again, that silver lining, 4 years of campaigning coming back, there is no doubt, right? I love the clip of Tom Homan with AOC, right? on deporting illegal aliens. This is legal. This is the president's agenda, and it's overwhelmingly supported by the American people. So if she's opposing that, then, she's subverting democracy and the will of the people.
Let's play right here. Cut 345 just reinforces this idea of the mandate. This is the Steve Kornacki. Have we tweeted this yet, guys? It's just terrific. Let's play cut 345, please.
Trump swept the battlegrounds. But the other big story this week has to do with the popular vote and how Trump pulled that off. Here's one answer. Big blue states with very diverse populations. This new coalition that Donald Trump's assembled, it meant that he didn't win any of these, but he made some giant strides. California, biggest of them all, 29-point Biden win 4 years ago. Currently, only 18 for Harris, her home state. Look at New York. Basically, Trump cutting that Democratic margin in half. Go down this list and look inside those states and you'll see it. Blue-collar areas, cities, metro areas with large Hispanic populations, that's where Trump made his big gains there.
11 points better in California. And I have to just say, we've been saying that there's something happening in California. Again, of course, it's still a deep blue state. But that kind of movement is a really big thing. Mark, I want to keep you for another segment, but we have 1 minute remaining. Can you just summarize how rare it is for an incoming administration to have this type of mandate? Not a squeaker, but this kind of mandate.
It's rare, and it's even rare, right, to have a battle-tested president who's been president, who knows, what he's doing, and he's looking for the right people. It is just, it's going to be magnificent. I'm so excited. Again, out of bad and evil comes good, Charlie. And this is what you're seeing right here. The American people embrace the president. He's battle-tested, he's principled, and he's hungry to implement this agenda, which the American people support. And there's no more question about that. And he needs the right appointees to help implement that agenda.